I knew I was going to get through it and I was going to do the best I could, no matter what happened. At some point during cancer, you resigned yourself to the fact that you could die. And you have those moments of, okay, if I only have a few more months, this is what I want to do, or this is the person I want to be, this is how I want to live. And I had all of those things, and hopefully I'm living out those things, but there are very scary moments and there are very dark days. And I hope nobody ever has to go through that, ever. Hi, I'm Jordana. I am a mom and a wife and a radio talk show host and a cancer survivor, sort of, because I still have 17 more months of treatment. So probably leukemia warrior, but I like to think survivor. So in the spring of 2020, I was feeling really crappy, but I think a lot of us were. We were living through a pandemic. We had just gotten through a long winter in Minnesota, and I had seen my doctor. And they said, well, normally everybody feels bad right now. Take some vitamins, get some exercise, you'll get through it. So a few weeks later, I noticed some bruising on my body. Black and blue marks on my legs, on my arms, on my body, and a few, which I promptly ignored.
When I saw the spots on her legs, that freaked me out. And I said, we're going to see Al Zellickson now. And that was at about 10:30 at night. So we went to his home and we woke him up. And that's when he said that she needs to be seen right away in the morning. She needs to get blood work done.
The next day when I could, I got some blood work in the morning. And my husband got a call on his phone because I turned my phone off at night so I can sleep. And it was my primary care doctor, a different one who I'd never met, that said, we're trying to get in touch with Jordana. She has to go to the hospital right now. And I think somehow in my brain, I knew that something was really wrong with me. And that's probably why I didn't want to go to the hospital. But we did. At that point in the middle of the night, the doctor came in and said they need to do what's called a bone marrow biopsy. So I stayed overnight in the hospital. They did the surgery the next morning, and that afternoon, the doctor came to my room. My husband was next to me and said, I have leukemia. The hardest part of the whole thing was figuring out how to tell my kids. I had to stay in the hospital, and in fact, I was supposed to start treatment right away. So they wouldn't let me go home that night. So I FaceTimed the kids, and I told them their mother has cancer. And it was the worst conversation you can ever imagine having in your life. And I was a mess, and then they were a mess. And there was also this moment as a mother where you can't tell your kids, oh, everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. Because I didn't know if I was gonna be fine. Because when you find out you have cancer, the doctors immediately tell you all the ways that you can die, because that's their job. And it didn't look great. The odds for people like me weren't great. I remember one of the first conversations with my doctor, Dr. Cole Williams at Mayo. I told him, I just want to live. I'll do whatever you say. I just want to live. And he said, obviously we have the same goals, but that was the first time that I thought that I may not. And that was really scary. And I think every cancer patient goes through that at some point, whether it's the moment they hear the word or during their treatment when they realize it's way harder than they think it's gonna be. And you have those moments, you do. I had two specific moments where I thought that I was not going to, because the treatment is hard. And I just wish nobody ever had to go through it. So it turns out I didn't end up needing a bone marrow transplant because I responded so well to the chemo after my first treatment. So after being inpatient for a month or so, in November of 2020, my leukemia went into remission. Thank God. I'm still in remission today, which is great news. it was definitely the unbelievable treatments that I got at Mayo that kept me alive. But the reason that I am alive today, just as much as the drugs and the doctors and the nurses, is the incredible amount of support that I received from, number one, my husband. He is an extraordinary human.
And, a lot of my friends say, well, you did such a great job. And I just say, that's what we do. That's what you do for people that you love. And that's what I did.
And then the letters from the listeners and from my friends who are also family was amazing. At Mayo Clinic, they would come in with mountains of mail that would just say, Jordana Green, Mayo Clinic.
25 years ago, Jordana probably wouldn't have made it because they just didn't have the research to know what to do. We learned about the Leukemia Lymphoma Society back then, but we didn't realize that it was so instrumental in helping Jordana beat this. And that's why when they asked Jordana to do this campaign, she said yes immediately. And I said, well, I'll be your campaign manager.
What I went through that got me to this place, which is why I'm doing this campaign now, is because I would never want any of those people or anybody else who I have never met to have to go through that. And more importantly, I would never want any of those people to have to watch a child suffer that way. And I think with raising money for Leukemia Lymphoma Society and this campaign and any campaign that goes toward cancer research, we are one step closer to having it end. Because we should not have to live like this. This is modern. We live in a modern world. We should be able to find a cure for this. And I know the research dollars that Leukemia Lymphoma Society gives helps us find a cure. And I hope that cure is closer than any of us realize, because this needs to stop. And I really believe that we can do it.